Beaufort County Airports Board. If you can all please rise and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Public notification. This meeting has been published, posted, and distributed in compliance with the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act. And do we have Leslie and Ann with us today?
Yes.
Hi, it's Ann.
Okay, thank you. Everybody got a copy of the agenda? Any changes or suggestions for today's agenda? Hearing none, I'll accept a motion to approve the agenda as published.
So moved.
We've got two in a second.
Second.
Couple of seconds. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to approve the agenda passes. Same story on the minutes. Should all receive copies of last month's minutes. Any changes or corrections, updates to the minutes? Hearing none, accept a motion to approve the minutes. Rich and Brian a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And the minutes are approved as published. We now go to our public comment period, but seeing no public today, we will run right through that. And then right up to John.
You guys are gonna have to recruit some public to come in here and talk.
Have our wives come.
We got one over there.
Yeah, bring a friend next time. Free admission. We don't even charge for this thing.
Donuts and coffee, John, you know?
It's got, yeah, I know, that will work, right? Food typically works.
That'd be airline donuts and coffee.
It's Oktoberfest, right? Can make it work. Okay, welcome to October already. Just got used to writing 2023 and we're gonna have to write 2024 here in a little bit. I'm gonna see if this thing works. It doesn't always work, but give it a shot. All right, so first thing we want to do is highlight a staff. It worked. Or did you time me? We'll try the next one. All right, so we like to highlight a staff member each time just so y'all get a chance to meet them. So this is Dave Lilly. If you've been around the airport at all, you've probably met Dave. He's our longest serving employee. He's also, Steve wanted me to point out, he's also our shortest employee. I don't know why that was important, but it was funny. But Dave he's been on our ARF squad for, like it says, for quite a long time here, almost 20 years with us, and he's got an extensive background in public safety and the ARF business. So you can kind of see what he does there, but he also worked with, I forget if it was Piedmont. Was it Piedmont, G? Do you remember? He worked with one of the airlines for a while, so he was always in the know on what was going on with the Dash 8s and stuff when we were still dealing with those turboprops. But Dave has a superpower that helps us out, and his superpower is spotting any contractor or any business who's operating on the airport and doesn't have an agreement with us. I don't know how he does it, but he'll just call us out of the blue one day and say, hey, do you guys have an operating agreement with ABC plane detailing? And we'll look it up, and we don't, and we'll get an agreement set up with them. So if there's anybody out there in TV land who wants to do business on the airport, make sure you get an agreement with us or Dave will catch you. So that's his superpower. All right, now don't do this. All right, it worked, okay. So this is our video drum roll here, okay? We have a new piece of equipment out at the airport. Really been needing this and wanting this for many, many years. I know it's a small step, but it's huge for us because this replaces shovels and 5-gallon buckets for moving, literally, for getting ready for inspections, replacing erosion issues out there. You know, it's such a sandy environment. Every time we have a big rain, we have erosion issues that frankly knock us out of compliance with Part 139. So this is gonna make things a lot better. So we've got a couple of different attachments that go on this as well. There's a bush hog attachment that's gonna allow us to get into some areas and clean things up. We've got forks so we can help unload things when sometimes the airlines get deliveries and there's no way to unload trucks. Obviously, it's got the bucket on it, and it's also got a grapple claw on it as well, so it can, you know, pick things up, move things around. But and it's also a good stress reliever for an airport director. Because if
Good
you've been in my office, you've seen the big dirt pile by the office, so I could just call Dan up and say, bring the Bobcat down. I'm a little stressed this afternoon. I need to go move some dirt. So it works for me. It's my little therapy
You can
toy.
move some snow with it too.
If we move snow with that thing, we have problems, Mark. But I guess in a pinch we could, if we had to move like a few years ago, 2018, we had to move ice off of the runway. And luckily we had a broom tractor and it moved it off.
So
But,
we can do it and Charleston can't.
That's right, we did. We beat them open. So we beat them and Savannah. Okay, quick, just general update on the department. Right now, Steve and Eric are both at the Southern Region Conference up in Atlanta. It is a conference that is just chock full of great information. It's FAA stuff, so it is all technical. So those guys are kind of dividing and conquering and attending a whole bunch of different sessions, so they'll come back with a lot of great information. Some of it's GA related, most of it is commercial related and some Part 139 stuff as well. So pretty intense, started Tuesday evening and it goes through the end of the day today. So they're gonna come back tonight and probably be pretty tired, but we're gonna have high expectations of some good training that comes from it. So that is a great conference. We just haven't been able to attend in person in the past, so we're glad to have them there. We do have a couple new staff members. Spencer, I'm sorry, Spencer. Last name is, I think Zalai is how you say it, but I'm not for sure. We call him Spencer. He's working out at ARW today. Young guy, his dad's an airline pilot, and he's got dreams of becoming a pilot as well. But he's doing a great job. Already on independent duty out there, real quick study, great customer service guy, just really gets it out there. So if you're out at ARW, you'll probably see Spencer working. Pretty ambitious guy, so glad to have him. And then we have a new gentleman starting at Hilton Head next week. I have not yet met him, but it's Renee, again, tough last name, Sabagal, I think, so we'll call him Renee. But anyway, he's a kind of jack of all trades maintenance tech, so he's coming on the maintenance team, and he'll be able to help Rob out with the various things that tend to break at an old airport, old facility like ours. So be glad to have him as well, but both are great new additions. We do have a firefighter spot right now that's out being advertised, so out there in our vast viewing audience, if there's anybody who's ever wanted to be an ARF firefighter, come on and check that out. So right now, those are the only opportunities. I think that's the only open one we've got right now is that firefighter spot since we filled the other two. Let's see, other agenda items. The ones that moved through for approval, last month, you folks voted to push through the lease out of ARW, the ground lease for high tide tours, so that they can eventually get to the point where they build a hangar out there for the business. That's moving through council. Had first reading 2 weeks ago. And the contract with Edison Ford, the lease agreement so they can use the space at 30 Hunter Road is tracking along in parallel, so that also had first reading. So once those get through third reading, they'll both be official ordinances and everything will be good and folks can move in and operate. So if you recall, anytime we're leasing county property other than the hangars, it needs to actually go through by state law as an ordinance. So a little bit longer process, but it's okay. We know what the process is, so that's the big thing. All right. Any questions on that before I move along?
I go quick on high tide not operating yet. Are they gonna wait till the hangar is complete before they start operations, or will they operate from the ramp while it's being
No,
constructed?
that's a good question, and they will operate before the hangar's there, because it'll be, a couple of years probably before they're finished building a hangar. We haven't even evaluated the lease documents or anything yet, so definitely in the crawl stages there, but we have an office space available for them inside the terminal, so they'll operate out of that office space to be able to run the business. So they're not physically there yet, but I would imagine very soon they'll be there. They're actually going to be at our 5K race at the Flying Frog, and they've donated a flight as a door prize kind of thing for runners. So if you're on the fence about running too and you want a chance at a free flight, this is on the next slide too, but Beaufort Flight Training has donated, or maybe it's through Jim Atkins himself, I'm not sure, has donated a discovery flight, and then High Tide Aviation has donated, I think it might be their longest tour that they do, so it's a substantial donation. But you have to be a runner to win. Only the bib numbers getting entered into the bucket. So you can sign up. You don't have to run it. You can walk it.
Brian,
For those of you that don't know, Jessica Ward from High Tide Aviation is here today.
Hey, Jessica. I looked at you and I said, okay, I know I met you. Yes, that is Jessica. I think this is a claim to fame for you. It definitely is for you. Colonel Baxley was in the terminal yesterday and was singing her praises and said that she trained him to fly a helicopter. So that's why it's a credit to you. If you could train Neil to fly helicopters, you're an all-star. So welcome aboard. So do you want to come up and say a few words? You're more than welcome to if you want to. Yeah, you could introduce yourself and go ahead and give a sales pitch.
Met some of you already. I'm Jessica Ward with High Tide Aviation. I did get moved into the office last week, and I'm here today with my aircraft. I live in St. Simons Island, and so I've been in business for 10 years. My first location is in Southport, North Carolina. So I have aircraft based at both of those airports, and because there isn't hangar space available here, and it's actually a pretty quick flight from St. Simons, and I have hangars there. What I've been doing is, unless I have, a number of tour reservations that would justify me parking the airplane on the ramp at Beaufort, I'm just kind of going back and forth, and then I'm coming back and forth with the plane, and so come in for the day and then fly back. So I'm kind of just gradually working into it in fact, just a couple of minutes ago, some folks were calling maybe to book a tour. So I'm starting to get more calls, and it's slowly been picking up. And so I'm hoping very soon that it'll be so busy that I will just have a plane that is parked over at Frogmore all the time. And I'll just have a cover on it, and we'll see kind of, hopefully, maybe we can build a hangar. We'll see how that goes. But did anyone have any questions for me?
I think one of the questions that came up, I'm not sure it was answered last month when we looked at this, the type of aircraft that you plan to use for the tours.
Yeah, it's a Cessna 172.
Order aircraft to 172s?
I have 6 of them, yeah.
Great.
I mean, I have a flight school in North Carolina, and I have a helicopter school there. And I also have a VTOL Bonanza and a Baron, 55 Baron that we use for multi-engine training. Those, the Bonanza and the Baron, we move back and forth. Like, I had the Baron in St. Simons for 2 or 3 weeks because I had a multi-engine student there. But no, the only thing I'm planning to use at Frogmore is the Cessna 172.
Just the tours?
For the tours,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Look
Nice to
forward
meet
to
you.
seeing you again.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jessica.
So stay ahead.
All right, so book your tours. If you come out to the airport too, you'll see on our monitor at the desk, we've got the map, kind of the brochure that Jessica's got, and it shows the different routes that they'll fly. So it's pretty good variety, and you get to see some great things. And I know that they pull history into the tours as well, so it's more than just flying around and looking at the area. You'll actually get a little bit of a narrative as you go. So kind of a new spin on things. All right, anything else? All right, so Beaufort Executive, we talked a little bit about Flying Frog. Again, this is on runsignup.com, and so if you go to runsignup.com, there's a little search bar that you can, and if you just plug in Flying Frog, we are the only Flying Frog 5K out there, so you will find us. And immediately following the race will be the Touch a Truck event with Junior Service League. So that's a great partnership that we've got started, and that's very well attended. So that'll be great for the airport, I think, too. So, that events like that, with young kids and young parents sometimes sparks interest in the aviation field, and might get a few flight students out of that, and you may just inspire some future aviators as well. So great opportunity. Again, the race is it's a 5K run race, but we have folks out there who walk it every year. We have folks out there with young children and strollers. So it's as laid back as you want it to be, or it's as competitive as you want it to be. So it is obviously a very flat course, and it's fast, and it's certified through USA Track and Field. So for anybody who's watching this video, if you register a personal best, then it counts. So that's a big deal if you're a serious runner. So we encourage folks to come out. We're the flattest race in town, so come and see us. We'll be fast. And you'll have a tailwind at least part of the way.
And John, date and time the race starts, and what time do they have?
Sure,
to
thank
assemble?
you, Howard. The date is October 28th. Okay, so you've got just over a week to train. That's enough time. If you haven't started running, I mean, it's a 5K. Anybody can do a 5K, right? It's not that bad. So come out and do that. You have 1 week to train. And the race kicks off at 8 o'clock in the morning, so you want to be there about 7:30, get loosened up, and everything will kick off at 8 o'clock.
Do you know how many people are signed up?
I don't know right now. A lot of people wait till the end. So, we've done a lot. You may have seen some podcasts that are out there. We've done a good bit of advertising on this one. Had some great help from, I think it was called Low Country Conversations. I don't know if you saw that on YouTube, but we had a nice opportunity to do a podcast there. That'll cost you $1. And we also did a podcast through the county channel a few weeks ago. And during that podcast, we had a gentleman from Altitude Academy on there as well. So he explained what Altitude Academy is all about. Of course, that's a 501c3 that is a benefactor of this race. So Lord willing, we raise some good money during this, and then we can make a donation to Altitude Academy. And that exists to get young children, school-age children exposed to aviation, kids who may not otherwise be exposed to aviation. So it's a great opportunity just to let people know about all the different, aspects, all the different jobs that are related to aviation. It's not just the pilot sitting in the cockpit that is aviation. There's so much that goes into it. So we just want folks to get exposed to it. And in order to do that, we need to help these guys continue their mission. They did get a nice jump start from the State Aeronautics Commission this year with a scholarship. So they do have a simulator now. So we want to continue that funding and make sure that they can teach more children about aviation. So if you're on the fence about running, just come on and donate that. Or you don't have to run. You can just make a donation too. And we'll be happy to accept that. So go on and check that out. But that's coming up in just over a week.
John, what type of revenue did that generate last year, Carl, or what do you anticipate this year?
Again, very hard to say. Last year, we basically covered our costs.
Okay.
So that was our third year. This is our fourth year. We're hoping that it's kind of generating a little bit more momentum. Some people say it's a challenge during the fall here because there's a 5K every weekend. I think that's a good thing because people are thinking about doing 5Ks, and people who enjoy them will find us. And we've done, like I said, a lot more exposure. We got some airtime on WHHI, actually twice with them, and those couple of podcasts. So we're out there talking about it. Hopefully you are as well. And we'll get some folks to the race. So, and if you're on the board and you want to come out and just hang out for a while, you can do that. We won't make you run, but you can pretend you're running to encourage other people. That'd be fine. But it's a fun event. So we do encourage folks to come out and check it out.
Hey, John, how long is the airfield closed?
It'll end up being probably about, I think we'll close at about 6:30 in the morning and probably be open by about 9:30.
Sure.
Yep. So after the race, we'll do a FOD check and then reopen the airfield. Yep. But like I said, we have some people who walk it, so it takes a little bit longer to walk it.
That's NOTAMed, that goes through.
Oh, yes. Yep. NOTAM, we'll have the X's out and everything. Yep. And manning the radios in case somebody, not that any pilots wouldn't check NOTAMs, but just in case they don't, and they don't know what a yellow X means over the end of the runway, we will have folks on the radio and with their eyeballs on the skies to make sure that we don't have an oops. Yep. All right. Anything else on ARW?
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay. Over to Hilton Head, Concord Elegance is coming up in just a couple weeks as well. So we're in the final planning stages there. Everything's going smoothly. But again, very similar to past years, we'll do the Aero Expo and the gala out there behind Signature back in the county hangar area. And just a great event, and we're excited to have them again. Friday night at the gala, there will be the taxiway high-speed demos again with this year BMW and Porsche will be out there. So if you buy that premium level ticket for the gala, then you may have a shot at riding down the taxiway. Everything's clear with the FAA, so we're good there, but certainly looking forward to that as well. And it's been an awesome event in the past, so it should be another good year. ATAX presentation, this is what you all approved last winter, Tom, and we'll do it again this winter, where you say, yes, go ahead and apply for this money. We have a request in for $150,000, 100% of which is used for marketing for the airports and the island, to bring people in, and we go out there. It's primarily a digital campaign where if you're searching for travel in this region, our ads will find you and we'll pester you until you decide that you want a vacation to Hilton Head and come to our airport. So that's what we do with the money. But I did that presentation last Thursday, and we should, I think the other round of presentations are today. So we should know, typically it's kind of the end of November that we find out what the award is going to look like. End of November, early December. Depends on the town council meeting dates. Last couple of years, we've got 100% of our requests, so we're hopeful that they still see the value in granting that. All right, TSA pre-check event. We talked a little bit about that before the meeting, but that kicks off on Monday, and the location for that is 26 Hunter Road. So that's, if anybody's had to go get a badge with Craig, it's the same office, and so we'll host that event inside there. IDEMIA Incorporated is the company that's contracted with the federal government to run those events. And at the last one, I think it was 700 people that they were able to get through pre-check processing. So that's 1 or 2 staff running that many folks through pre-check in a 5-day period. So pretty impressive. They got a really smooth operation, and that's a great opportunity. I know, several of you volunteered last time to help out, just welcome people in and, give them a little brief on how the basic process works. So if anybody hasn't had a chance to sign up for that, if you're interested in helping out for an hour or 2 or more, see Rocio. We've got a sign-up sheet here, so good opportunity. Brian?
Does that program approve people on the spot for their TSA pre-check number?
It does, and then what happens is shortly thereafter, you get your known traveler number.
Yeah.
And then you're 100% ready. But yes, it gets you through, as long as you check online, you can go to TSA pre-check and find out what the requirements are as far as some preliminary paperwork or what records you need to bring with you, proof of, you might need a passport and things like that. As long as you come, just like DMV, just come with what you need, and it's very smooth.
John, I didn't see a lot of publicity about this event yet. Hopefully we'll see a little more. But I did send a note out to each of the Hilton Head Town Council folks, reminding them of the dates, the times, and I sent them the TSA requirements for what clients may have to bring. So I've asked them to disseminate that to their constituents. Some will, some won't. But it's not too late if we can figure out some way to get a little more exposure for that event.
Yeah, and we've done it through our website, through social media, as well as through the county channel and public or press releases through the county. So every means that we've got has already been used. And I'll tell you, folks find out about this because if they're interested in pre-check, they've already gone to the website and they'll find out where the pop-up events were. Because when we did the first one, was it March or April? I was amazed that before the event, a couple of weeks before the event, every appointment was booked. I had no idea that people were that engaged, but they are. So I'm pretty sure this will have every appointment booked, and then there'll be walk-ins as well. But the walk-ins, don't be scared to be a walk-in. Because they process these folks very quickly, and walk-ins are certainly welcome. All right, so that's next week. Good opportunity to volunteer. Let's see. I'm going to skip Leo for just a minute and come back to it, so don't let me forget. We're looking at establishing a date for a groundbreaking out there for the terminal projects. We're going to do kind of a ceremonial groundbreaking. I don't have that date nailed down, so I'm going to get that to you as soon as I can kind of herd the cats and figure out what dates work for the folks who absolutely have to be there. Certainly want y'all to be there as well, so I'll let you know just as soon as I get that date selected.
Ballpark idea, John?
I'm sorry?
Month of November, month of December, January?
Yes.
At least we have a year.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was really looking at beginning of November, and now it's looking like it might be wiser to move to beginning of December. But again, I hesitate to say anything right now because it's not nailed down. So
When's the contract after?
just don't go anywhere for a while. and we'll make sure you're there.
When does
Mark?
the contract have to start?
Not until we set a notice to proceed date, which we
You haven't
haven't
given
done.
notice, okay.
No, we haven't done. There's still, as you can imagine, once a contract is awarded, they've got to go and notify all their subcontractors, coordinate all their schedules, get all that squared away. Then we'll issue a notice to proceed. We don't want to issue it too early or their clock starts ticking, and they've only got 2 years. So we'll issue it when they're ready and everybody agrees it's time to kick it off, and then we'll get that going. We're doing speaking of the contractor, Edison Ford, who is the terminal contractor, is sponsoring a tenant appreciation lunch for us tomorrow. And Rosia, this is Rosia's brainchild, so I got to give her a shout out here. She does a great job of remembering that we have to thank folks at the airport for what they do. So we've got so many people inside the terminal who can really influence and impact the customer experience at the airport for the good or the bad. Every traveler that goes through the airport comes in maybe a little bit stressed because they're traveling and that sort of thing. And sometimes it just takes people doing something nice to make them feel like they're welcome. Well, we want to do that for our tenants too, to make them know that they're appreciated. So Rocio had us do Valentine's last year. We did a lunch for them at one point. And the airlines and the rental car folks and every TSA all really appreciate that. So we were struggling a little bit this year because it was hard to figure out how we can fund that and finance it. And Rocio said, well, let's see if Edison Ford would be interested in sponsoring this as a brand new contractor. What better idea than to come introduce yourself to the tenants? And they jumped at the opportunity. So they're going to underwrite this event for the tenants, and they'll have the chance. We think it's pretty neat too to give the tenants the very first opportunity to meet the contractor who's going to build their new home. So it's really kind of a cool thing that came together. Thanks to Rocio. I've got great folks on the team who do a lot of the thinking for me. So while we're going to appreciate our tenants, I'm going to appreciate my staff for what they bring to us. So it's good stuff. So that'll be tomorrow. We're doing it at 11:30, right? I think is when we're doing that. So anyway, great opportunity there. Next one, our paid parking at the terminal is going to have a rate increase on January the 1st. We actually hadn't increased rates since 2017. So the parking company reached out to me and said, let's do a modest increase. So that's what we're going to do. We are still lower than other airports in the region. So we did do a check in our region here. I think we went as far away as, forget if it was Asheville or Chattanooga. And we had the lowest rates. And we'll still have the lowest rates even with the increase. So there are people who have economy rates that cause you to get a shuttle to come to the airport. They may be lower. We don't have that. We're like rock star parking for everybody. So you can't beat our rates. So that'll happen January 1st. We'll publicize it so it's on the website and everybody knows about it.
John, I don't recall having gone through the original plans. Is there going to be any more parking when the new terminal gets done?
When it's all complete, so at the end of the second phase, as you come into the terminal complex, all that area on the right will be cleared out and there'll be parking in there. So in the interim, it's going to get a little bit dicey doing the entrance road, so we'll get a little bit flexible. We may end up having to do some temporary gravel parking off to the side, but we'll kind of see how it all works out. But at the end of the day, yes, there will be some more parking.
Have you decided, is that going to be discounted parking off on the right side, or is that'll be general parking, same rate throughout the parking?
We
areas?
haven't gotten that far yet. Yeah. All right, let's see, what else do we have? Okay, back to the Leo services. This coming Monday, the 23rd at 3 o'clock, there's a Public Facilities and Safety Committee meeting. That's one of the committees of County Council. And we have a discussion item on the agenda, and this is Leo services. And what this is inside the terminal, we have the sheriff's deputies who man the post, and they have to be in the terminal and able to respond within 5 minutes if there's an incident at the checkpoint. Now, you know the terminal, even with the North Concourse and South Concourse, you can still get anywhere within 5 minutes. So, what's so funny? People ask where the baggage claim is, and I said to the North Concourse.
You can crawl in that time.
Yeah. Anyway, they provide the required, there's a federal mandate that requires a certain level of law enforcement within the terminal to be able to respond to the checkpoint. Sheriff's deputies currently provide that. The sheriff put us on notice back in June and said, we're going to pull the deputies out at the end of the calendar year. So that obviously kind of lit a fire, and we started talking with the sheriff and with the chief deputy and trying to work out some plans. And of course, you can contract for private security and still meet the needs. The qualifications for that are pretty difficult. And we're trying to work on putting together a request for qualifications on that. But we definitely can't make that happen by the end of the year. I mean, that process in itself was probably a 6 to maybe 8 month process, because even if we were to select a contractor by the end of the year, they then have to go find people. Pretty easy to find staff these days, right? They have to go find people who are trainable to carry a weapon and carry out these federal mandates. And oh, by the way, if their people don't show up, the checkpoint closes and flights get delayed or canceled. So as you can imagine, there aren't many private companies who are interested in that level of liability for an airport that's part of the national transportation system. So we're in a little bit of a pickle. We're trying to get the sheriff's office to say, now they've got manpower concerns, and that's what they're looking at when they look at, this duty at the airport for their deputies. They need all the people they can get, which is understandable. But the reason we're presenting it at council is to really make sure that they're completely aware of what's going on, and frankly, to ask for their help, because we would much rather have the deputies in there than anybody else. The passengers have gotten to know them, and there's just something different about seeing that vest and the badge that says sheriff and not hired security. You can make hired security look like a deputy, almost exactly like a deputy. But there's something about seeing sheriff across that chest that puts people at ease. And our sheriffs live in the community as well, those deputies. They know a lot of the travelers. And so they get asked questions, they provide information while they're doing their duties. And they're great. It's good to have the vehicles out front. It's a nice deterrent. When they're off, when the checkpoint is closed, they go to other parts of the airport and provide security for us in those places. And it's just, there's a host of reasons why it's just better to have the deputies in there than hired security. If we have to go hired security, we certainly will do that. We can't do it quickly, so we're gonna definitely need to extend the deputies. But I wanted a decent year with Uber, and that's really starting to develop. But it represents a fairly decent revenue stream for us. And we recently worked with them to increase their fees as well. And what they do is they're geofenced, so every time one of their operators comes through the airport, they get charged. So, and they just, the consumer pays it anyway. But it's the same way at every airport, because Uber has a contract that they use with every airport, so it's pretty much the same. But it's a great service to the customers. It's another option that they have to choose, and also generates revenue for the airport. So that's a number of pickups. I think the next slide, let me see if this is back on. Oh, it's not, that was it. Okay, so there's a number of pickups, and that's the revenue it generates. So, and that'll increase a little bit. You'll see in the next couple of months, if maybe we'll bring it back to you quarterly or something like that, but you'll see it'll take a jump because we did just increase those fees. So just a little piece of information for you there.
And how are we counting the pickups, John? Could you explain that one more time?
Sure, that's geofence. So every time the Uber driver comes into the airport, it's a geographical electronic fence that's put around that has to deal with these great phones we all carry. So anytime an Uber vehicle that is registered with Uber or Lyft comes through our property, they get charged. And then and that kind of tallies a trip as well. So we know how many times they've been in to pick people up. Now, we don't know if they're picking up 2 people, 3 people, 1 person, but we know the number of pickups because that's the basis that the charge is made on.
Thank you.
Sure. Technology is great when it works for you. All right, that's all I have. Any questions?
Don't go away. Any unfinished business? None that I know of. Hearing none, we'll move right into new business.
All right. Sounds good. Do we have anything? I know Leslie and Ann are on board. I want to make sure we don't miss something from them. All right, new business. 2 items here, both of them very similar. It's up to you if you want to take them together. They're really for the exact same thing, so you certainly can if you'd like to. But what they are is we've got a couple offices within the terminal at Beaufort Executive. And like I explained before, any rental of office space needs to be handled with an ordinance. So the reason these are being renewed is because the county updated its leasing policy last spring. So to bring these into compliance with that new policy, we had to rewrite the agreement. In order to ink the new agreement, it's got to go to council. In order to go to council, you get to see it first. So nothing has changed. We're still working on the third Thursday of each month at 1:30 in the afternoon. We still rotate between Beaufort and Hilton Head.
Okay, do we have any questions on it?
Well, unfortunately, I plan my stuff many months in advance, and I notice in February, it's now the fourth Thursday of the month, and I have a conflict with that, but that's okay. I'll just miss that meeting.
Okay. And the reason we moved that to the fourth Thursday is because the week before that is the state conference, and Steve, Eric, and myself will all be at that conference. But the 22nd is my birthday, so I'll be offended if you're not there, Brian.
All right, so just a heads up, and we've discussed this at the last meeting since we're going to vote on the calendar. Board members are entitled to 3 absences. Makes no difference whether they're excused or unexcused. 3 absences during the calendar year, so please keep that in mind as you look at the calendar. And I am working slowly with the county to mandate physical attendance at our board meeting unless there are some extenuating circumstances. We do better as a group in person as we do with folks signing in. So I can't do that unless the county approves that. So in the works, don't know how far that'll get, but we'll see. So I need a motion to approve the Beaufort County Airports Board schedule as published and as you have copies in front of you.
So moved.
And a second. We have a second. Any further discussion on the calendar? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes.
Thank you very much. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Chairman's update. Mark, ARW Committee report. Chris is out today, so.
About 3 weeks ago, there was a short pilot meeting at the airport, attended by the airport administration and some pilots and updates on at the hangar.